What is going on, everybody? Louis Longoria here with Garage Game Day Sports. I want to talk about my Dallas Cowboys, baby. 3-1 on the season, a huge home win over the Carolina Panthers. But before we dive in just yet, please follow us on Twitter at Game Day Garage. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, Garage Game Day Sports. I'm your host, as always, Louis Longoria. Let's dive right in. My Dallas Cowboys looked really good yesterday over the Carolina Panthers. 36-28 was the final. It really didn't even seem that close at times. We started off good. They came after us early. They put pressure on Dak, but our offensive line responded very well. I was very afraid of this pass rush. You have two guys in Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns that can really bring the pressure, that can bring the heat on a quarterback. And I was thinking Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard were going to serve as more of pass protectors, little glimpses of what we saw in the Tampa Bay game, to start the year. But I'm glad they hit their stride. We gashed Carolina 245 yards on the ground. I was very pleased with our running game, to say the least. That really opened up things for Dak and the others. Dak threw a couple late touchdowns in the second half to really bust this game open. It was under 200 yards passing, but threw 4 touchdowns. So Zeke and Tony were able to get everything started, get the party started, so to speak, and really allow Dak and his receivers to really spread the ball, spread the offense, and wear down that Carolina defense. This Carolina defense was ferocious, and I use the word was, because of the way we were able to protect Dak, keep him upright. That defensive front seven of Carolina, that unit had generated 14 sacks among the first 3 games, so that's almost 5 sacks a game. We held them to zero sacks in this game. We kept Dak upright. Our offensive line responded. You got Shaq Thompson, who's a tackling machine and one of their best defensive players and an anchor for that defense. Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns can bring the heat, as well as several others. They had 8 guys with at least 1 sack on the year, so they've got depth and they've got intensity on that defense. So I'm really happy the way our running game and our offensive line stepped up. And I do want to give a shout out to Cedric Wilson, too. Cedric Wilson, a heck of a touchdown catch. I believe it was in the third quarter to really blow things open. Had a nice catch and put the spin move to waltz right into the end zone. I want to give a shout out, of course, Trevon Diggs. What he's doing is just incredible, man. 2 interceptions to add to his total. He's got 5 already in the year. A Defensive Player of the Month award in the NFC that was just given to him a few days ago. He could be well on his way to another one. Who knows? The month is young, but he's off to a heck of a start. We got to Carolina. We sacked Sam Darnold 5 times. We didn't allow him to get going too much through the air, and when he did, they were already, in a 36-14 hole. We did allow those 2 rushing touchdowns, which Darnold, I guess I hadn't really seen Carolina too much. That Darnold was such a sneaky guy, especially in the red zone. I know when they had a healthy Christian McCaffrey and you've got DJ Moore and guys like that, Sam Darnold kind of slips your mind. So he was able to parlay some of their drives into 2 rushing touchdowns and then threw a couple late touchdowns. One cause for concern I did have, and I checked the third down conversion, and it seemed like they converted more than 4 third downs. But on at least 2 occasions, maybe 3, they converted on 3rd and longs that really sustained their drives, that kept their drives alive, wore down our defense, and they ultimately scored. And that was something to watch too in the Chargers game. I believe Herbert and that offense converted 3 3rd and longs, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12. And that can be demoralizing for a defense. That can wear a defense down. That can kind of bring the morale of the whole team down. And I know, of course, the end result was a W, but with tougher games on our schedule and bigger threats at quarterback to come, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We welcome Derek Carr and the Raiders on Thanksgiving, and then we've got the Cardinals with Kyler Murray late in the year. Hopefully we have the division wrapped up by then. You've got those teams with those quarterbacks and those kind of weapons that if you give up 3rd and longs, are going to burn you. And that could come back and bite us in the butt, maybe cost us a game and cost us, a home playoff game or even home field advantage or something like that. So that's down the road, but that is something that I definitely want the Cowboys to address. Dalton Schultz had an up and down game. Of course, had a touchdown. He's had 3 this year, so Schultz definitely balling out, and it's a contract year for him. So I'm sure we're definitely going to be hearing his name called a lot this season. He's a security blanket for Dak. He makes big time catches. His name was all over the first half of this game, both a good thing and a bad thing. He had the fumble that was overturned, and then he had the fumble which should have been a fumble that they ruled forward progress and couldn't review that play, and then they kept him out of the end zone on that 2-point conversion that would have put us up 15-7. It was a 13-7 game. Carolina jumped out, and then we reeled off 23 unanswered to really put the game out of reach. But Schultz, he's a bright spot on this team, and I hope we can keep him around. I hope we can sign him. That he should be one of our priorities in this offseason. And I'm looking forward to more things from Schultz. And you can tell that the trust is there from Dak too. After those fumbles, which could have gone either way, he went straight for him in that 2-point conversion attempt that McCarthy wanted to try, which I was okay with at the time, from the 1-yard line. Dak's got trust in him, and he's got trust in a lot of receivers. Today, we saw CeeDee Lamb be pretty much a non-factor in this game. And Cooper was quiet till he came back from his hamstring. He reeled in a touchdown, but Cedric Wilson had a touchdown. Dalton Schultz had a touchdown. Dak and that offense are really spreading things around. And when you spread things around like that, and you've got Zeke and Pollard getting it done on the ground, that offensive line just moving people, bullying people. At times, I posted this on Twitter yesterday, they didn't give a damn about the Panthers pass rush. They said, you know what? We're just going to move you guys out of the way and let Zeke and Pollard do whatever they want on the field. And they did do that. There's just so many weapons and so many people to account for on this offense that when it gets rolling like this, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. 41 last week, 36 this week. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead on the Chargers before LA kind of clamped down on us. But that offense that we have seen, we know it's been there. It's just a matter of putting the pieces together. And some of the missing pieces we were missing was on defense. And boy, this defense got after the quarterback. 5 sacks on Darnold. Micah Parsons is flying everywhere. Osa Odigizua. Not only is it a badass last name, Odigizua just has some zip to it. He's been everywhere. You got Golston posting up sacks. And we got DeMarcus Lawrence still coming back from a foot. We got DeMarcus Lawrence out, Keanu Neal's out, Donovan Wilson. The list goes on and on. Dorrance Armstrong, Carlos Watkins. We've just got so many guys out, but it's very promising to see this front seven work the way it's working, flying after the ball, making plays. And a lot of these guys, might slip back into the number 2 role when we get starters back, but in a long season like this is a very encouraging, very promising sign of things to come for the Cowboys. It's already a long season, and we had an extra game tacked on this year, so we've got a 17-game season. That depth, this team top to bottom is playing very well right now, from your starters and the tip of your team, all the way to the second and third level guys. Everyone's contributing, and to be a division contender and what we ultimately hope to be a Super Bowl contender, you've got to have that production. First guy to the bottom guy, and we are seeing that right now. Cowboys definitely lighting it up on both sides of the ball. We're 3-1 in the division, first place. We've got a game up on Washington. They squeaked one out over the Falcons. We're 2 games up on the Giants and on the Eagles. The Eagles dropped their game, and the Giants pulled one out over the Saints in overtime. The Eagles lost to the Chiefs. I was trying to think of who they were. And then they played them pretty close. I'll give them credit. I thought they were going to get blown off the face of the earth, that the Chiefs were going to be pissed off after losing last week. But we're a game up on Washington, 2 up on Philly and the Giants. So we just need to keep it up. We can gain even more ground. We host the Giants this week. So I'm hoping we can contain Saquon Barkley, limit that big play ability, and get another leg up in the NFC East. These games, we've got a lighter schedule. We still got Kansas City. We've got the Raiders, who are still undefeated, by the way. We have a trip to Minnesota, and we've got the Cardinals second to the last game of the season. So we need to rack up wins when we can. Keep our foot on the gas, rack up wins, try and lock up this division. Hopefully, if we stay on top, I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch by any means. But in this lighter stretch of the season, you've really got to stockpile wins, keep the momentum going, and that way, if you do hit struggles or injuries or something, kind of outside our control, we can be equipped to handle those things and have a little cushion in the division. So I will be covering later in the week a preview against the Giants. I'll go a little in depth and offer my predictions on the game and some stat predictions for the game. Thank you all for joining me. As always, it's always a pleasure. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Garage Game Day Sports. Follow us on Twitter at Game Day Garage. My name is Louis Longoria. It is Monday, coming off a win. I'm in a great mood. Hope you all are too. Have a good one.